Coordinator with East Bay Community Energy, and today I'll be giving you an overview of EBCE and our NEM policy. If you have any questions, you can type them in the Q&A or wait until a Q&A session at the end. And this webinar will also be recorded and posted to our YouTube channel afterwards. And I'm also joined by my colleague, Kelly Brezovec, who will assist with questions. Okay, so what is EBCE? East Bay Community Energy is our local power supplier committed to providing Alameda County and the city of Tracy with cleaner, greener electricity at lower rates. EBCE reinvests earnings back into the community to create local green energy jobs, local energy programs, and clean power projects. And we are a not-for-profit public agency, and we do not have any shareholders. So all of our net revenue is reinvested back into the community. So how does this work? Starting in April, we will take over the generation portion of your electricity service, and we buy and build clean power plants and sell this power to you. So we provide electricity with a higher percentage of renewable energy, and then PG&E continues to deliver the power to you, and it is a seamless transition for the customer. You are automatically defaulted onto EBCE service, and you still receive one monthly bill from PG&E, and their page will have a generation credit showing that they are no longer charging you for that service. And we will review a NEM bill later on in the presentation so we can see these line items. So here are some notifications that you have received or will be receiving. On the left was a letter that we sent in February, and on the right were postcards sent in March or email. And we'll be sending out 2 more notices in April and May. So look out for those. And here's a map of all of our member cities with our new communities in yellow. So each city has an elected official representative on our board of directors, and all of our board meetings are open to the public, so you are welcome to join. And then I also just wanted to note that you are being enrolled with EBCE because your city council voted for you to be enrolled. So as an EBCE customer, you can choose between our 3 different service level options. We have Bright Choice, which has at least 5% more renewable energy than the state requires at rates 1% below PG&E generation rates. Brilliant 100 is set at 100% carbon-free energy at the same rates as PG&E, and Renewable 100, which is set at a penny more per kilowatt hour than PG&E, and it's 100% California solar and wind power. And it's typically about $4 to $5 per month for the average residential customer for Renewable 100. If you live in Pleasanton, your city council voted for your default product to be Brilliant 100, unless you are Care, Fair, or Medical Baseline, then you are defaulted onto Bright Choice. And if you live in Newark or Tracy, your city council voted for you to be defaulted onto Bright Choice. I also want to note that if you are Care, Fair, or Medical Baseline, you continue to receive the same discount as an EBCE customer. This does not change or go away. And then you can opt up or down or change your plan at any time with EBCE between these 3 different options. Okay, so one of EBCE's goals is to add more renewables to the grid, and we have signed these long-term power purchasing agreements to do that. To date, we have 9 projects contracted to develop wind, solar, and energy storage projects in California, and we are continuously working to expand the portfolio of our energy projects. And as an EBCE customer, you continue to be eligible for PG&E programs and incentives, and you also become eligible for our programs. So these are 2 programs that we are currently offering to our residents. And if you'd like to learn more information, you can check out our website. And this map is just to show that this model of CCAs exists across California. And MCE, which launched in Marin County, was the first CCA in 2010. EBCE has saved our customers $20 million since our launch in 2018. And you can also see that almost all of our neighboring counties also have CCAs. Okay, so now we will dive into our NEM policy. And I want to highlight that our NEM policy is designed to ensure that the cash out and true up for you is just as beneficial as PG&E's policy. The main difference is just the timing of payments that you'll make. So we do a monthly true up for the consumption of any electricity. So anytime you consume more than you generate in a month, you would just pay it that month. Anytime that you overgenerate, you would create credits on your account, and those roll over until our annual cash out in April. I also want to note that you continue to keep your annual PG&E true up for your transmission and delivery charges. PG&E is still in charge of all of your transmission and delivery, so they keep that annual true up for those charges. Also, enrollment in EBCE or opting out will trigger a true up of your NEM charges. Okay, so here we can see the different NEM programs that we offer. So most of you will fall under this standard EBCE NEM customer program. If you currently have NEM on your house, you would fall under this. And for this program, we pay out at the PG&E net surplus compensation rate, or the NSC rate, which is the wholesale rate and is the same rate that PG&E pays for surplus generation. Typically, it's about 2 to 3 cents per kilowatt hour, and it fluctuates each month. We also have this Care Fera NEM program for any Care Fera NEM customers who interconnect after EBCE started service in their territory. So that would be if you installed after April 1st, 2021, and you were a Care Fera customer. Then we would provide you a higher payout for your surplus generation. And I want to note that I will focus on the standard EBCE NEM customer program for the rest of this presentation, since all current NEM customers in Newark, Pleasanton, and Tracy fall under this program. So again, this is comparing the standard EBCE NEM program to PG&E's NEM policy. So here we can see a visual representation of the similarities and differences. First of all, we both provide a monthly retail credit for any surplus generation. So anytime that you overgenerate, you get credits at the retail rate, and that stays on your bill until the true up or cash out. And then we have the annual cash out at the NSC rates per kilowatt hour for any surplus generation. Again, this is the same rate as PG&E, that wholesale rate per kilowatt hour that you overgenerate. So here we see the difference is that PG&E had an annual true up for the consumption of any electricity. So anytime that you used more than you generated, those debits would also be rolled over until you're true up with them. But with EBCE, we do a monthly true up for the consumption of any electricity. And then you continue to keep your annual true up for your transmission and delivery charges with PG&E. They continue to do all of the transmission and delivery, and so they keep that true up with you. I will also note that for EBCE, if your annual cash out value is greater than or equal to $100, we send you a check. And if it's less than $100, then we just apply the credit to your bill and it rolls over on your bill. And well, we find that most customers prefer the monthly true up. If you would like to keep the annual true up for your generation charges and delivery charges, I would encourage you to opt out before March 25th so that there's no risk of being transitioned onto our service, and then you would have to go through multiple true ups. Okay, so now we will look at an example NEM bill. So on this first page, I've highlighted the PG&E electric monthly charges and the East Bay Community Energy electric generation charges. And the generation charges are not additional charges. They are replacing PG&E generation charges, which we'll see as a credit in 2 slides. So previously you just had one line item that said electric charges, and now it's just split up into generation and delivery. Okay, so here is the minimum delivery charges page. You still get this minimum delivery charge from PG&E. And then I also just wanted to highlight that this customer was a consumer this month, so they used more than they generated. And then here we have the details of the PG&E delivery charges page. So first I've highlighted the generation credit. This shows that they are crediting you back this generation charge since they are no longer providing you the generation service. And then the power charge, indifference adjustment, and franchise fee surcharge are 2 fees that PG&E adds on to CCA customer bills, but we credit those back to you on our page of the bill, so you do not have to pay any extra for them. We factor this into our rate setting process, so you don't have to pay extra for these charges. And I'll also note that this is just tracking what this customer would have paid PG&E, the $21.37, if they were on a monthly true-up with PG&E, but this will just be rolled over until their annual true-up. Okay, so then here is our page of the NEM bill. At the top, I've highlighted the rate schedule, and this shows 2 different things. So first is your rate that you are on with PG&E and EBCE. We mirror whichever rate you choose with PG&E. So this person is on the ETOUC, or time of use rate. And then it also shows your service level with East Bay Community Energy. So this person is on Bright Choice. And then I've highlighted the power charge, indifference adjustment credit, and franchise fee surcharge credit to show you that those are credited back to you. And they're not included in your fees. And then the Bright Choice, you can see the discount is 14 cents for this customer. And this person, again, they used more than they generated, and so they owe this $9.90. And I've highlighted here the credited to or debited from NEM balance. So they had money sitting in their NEM balance, and so we are taking that out to cover these charges this month. And then the NEM balance is also highlighted. Here you can track, you can see how much money is in your NEM balance. Each month it gets updated. So this person now has $0 left. And then the rollover credit balance is that cash out value from the previous year. So that has already been converted into the wholesale rate, and that can also be used to pay any charges that you have. And before we open it up to Q&A, I just wanted to answer some frequently asked questions that we get regarding NEM. So first, will I do better financially with PG&E? No, we have designed our NEM policy so that you will do just as well with EBCE. It's not better if you fall under that Care Fair NEM program. When do I need to take action if I want to opt out or enroll with EBCE? So if you want to opt out, you can do that at any time, but again, I would encourage you to do it before March 25th so that you don't have to go through multiple true-ups. If you want to enroll with EBCE, you will automatically be defaulted in April unless you take an action or opt out. If I opt up, will I generate credits at a higher rate? So yes, because we have these 3 different service level options, Bright Choice, Brilliant 100, and Renewable 100, whichever rate you're on, you will generate credits at that retail rate, and you will also pay for any consumption at that rate. 4, I like paying an annual bill. Can I do that with EBCE? No, unfortunately, we only have the monthly true-up option. 5, I don't like paying an annual bill and would prefer to pay monthly. Can I change this with PG&E? Yes, there is a monthly true-up option with PG&E. I would recommend contacting their customer service line or solar hotline, and you can find that number on your PG&E bill. And again, I just want to reiterate here that the value of EBCE and PG&E NEM is the same. The main difference is just the timing of payments that you would make, which would be monthly versus annual. Okay, so some next steps. I'd encourage you all to join our email list and check out our website at ebce.org. Our NEM page is ebce.org/NEM. You can also follow us on social media, attend a public meeting, which are now held via Zoom. You can attend an event with EBCE or choose whichever service level is right for you. Okay, now we will open it up to questions.
All right. Hi, everyone. We've managed to make it through quite a few of the questions that have come in live during the webinar between Dan Lieberman and myself. Hi, I'm Kelly Brezovec. So I think go ahead and type your questions in, and then we'll start to answer the rest of these questions that are coming in using our voices rather than our fingers. So Gabrielle, here's a question that just came in from Nancy asking, for solar questions, are we added to NEM 2.0 on the 20-year plan? And I'll actually take this one. So your version of NEM is based on your interconnection date, and that is whatever it was when you had installed with and interconnected with PG&E. So I guess, Nancy, it's hard to tell if maybe you're on 1.0 and you're wondering when that transition to that time of use will take place, or if you're already on 2.0 or you're thinking about installing NEM. But it's whatever PG&E says you're on, that you're maintaining that for the duration. So we're not, we're completely mirroring PG&E's rates there. All right, are there any other questions? Okay, and can everyone see the questions that are in the Q&A that are under answered? If someone can just maybe pop me a message in chat to let me know, because there's a lot of good information in there, and we can leave that open for a few minutes while folks go ahead and read those. So you can let me know if you can see those. That would be helpful. And in the meantime,
I see one question here that, this is Dan, that maybe you can address, which is a good question around some confusion with the difference between the generation credit and other credits that you get, accruing credits when you are a surplus generator. So there's the standard generation credit issued by PG&E every month when you are consuming power, versus someone who accrues NEM credits, let's say, as an overgenerator. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. All EBCE customers will see that generation credit from PG&E, and that's just showing that they aren't providing you generation service. But I can go back a couple of slides. So here is the generation credit, and that's on the PG&E side of the bill. And then on our side of the bill is where we will track your NEM balance for any over generation that you have. And that's called the NEM balance. And then again, the rollover credit balance is from last year's cash out.
Thanks, Gabrielle. I think that is confusing because for all customers, whether they are on NEM or not, when they're on EBCE service, PG&E will issue this generation credit on their bill, which shows what you would have paid PG&E. It's them saying, you know, we're crediting this to you because you're not using our generation service in the amount of 100 kilowatt hours or whatever you consumed in that month. So that concept is for all EBCE customers. And then there is this separate issue of NEM credits appearing on the EBCE page of the bill for NEM customers only. Hope that clarifies for the person who had that question.
All right, Gabrielle, I have another one that just came in via chat. This question asks, how do we know which NEM rate is appropriate? I don't have any more information than that, so I'm not sure if they are asking about like a time of use rate or an E1 rate, but let's go with that, and then this person can chat with me if that's not the question they're asking.
Yeah, so if you are wondering which rate schedule is right for you, like EV rate, TOUD, or TOUC, PG&E does have this personalized rate comparison on their website, and it looks at your recent usage and how much your bills would be based on those different rates. So I'd encourage you to check that out. And then regarding our different service levels, it's really just preference, like which, how much renewable content you want in your service, and then how much you want to pay.
Great. Okay, another question here from Marta. Marta is asking that PG&E can pull how much energy you are consuming via a monthly report, and she wants to know if EBCE supports something better, a daily report rather than a monthly report.
Do you want to take that one?
Sure. Yeah, so yes, when you log into pge.com, you can see, you ought to be able to see your usage over a like sort of a day behind. So PG&E does have, so when you have a smart meter, PG&E can see that usage the day after. And I understand you're looking to see that maybe in real time, and that might be something that your solar provider could give you. EBC doesn't handle metering, and that's clearly, that's meter data, that's meter level data. So you can definitely log into pge.com and see your usage yesterday. They should be able to give you some hourly interval data there, or check in with your panel provider and see what they have for you. All right, here's another question. If we are moving to EBCE, do we automatically transition to the TOU schedule? Can we stay on our E1 rate?
Yeah, so if you live in Alameda County, you have probably seen this TOU notification, and PG&E and EBCE are partnering on this. So whichever rate you select with PG&E will be mirrored by EBCE. So if you decide to stay on E1, we will keep you on E1. If you decide to transition to TOUC, we will also change your rate to TOUC.
Right, and yeah, just to reiterate with what Gabrielle said, if you do want to stay on that rate, those rate changes or rate requests go through PG&E, either via that business reply card that they sent out to you, or if that you can call them up or log in and make that change. But the rate, sort of that rate structure that you're on, PG&E handles that as part of metering and billing that they handle. Okay, and then I have another question that I don't know if we answered yet. So this goes back to, I think, the idea of the generation credit versus the NEM credit, and maybe it is a tricky subject. So maybe you could just describe it one more time. So Mick asks, so this is different than the balance of credits you accrue when you are a net generator. Would you explain the latter better? So how you accrue credits as a net generator.
Yeah, so the generation credit is different than your NEM balance. Your NEM balance is the credit you accrue as an over generator. And again, that is accrued at the retail rate on a monthly basis. So if you're like on a TOU rate and you over generate during those peak hours, then you would receive that same retail rate. And then annually in April, we would convert any surplus generation to the NSC rate, and that's your cash out value. Oh, I think you're muted, Kelly.
Yep. Okay, I see one more question. It looks like Dan is typing the answer, but this might be one that other folks have as well. Chevelle asks, if I don't have a true up now, meaning I generate more than I use, will I get a cash benefit at the end of the year? Maybe you can go into the difference between when someone receives a check and when it's a bill credit.
Yeah, so if you over generate, we will calculate your cash out value at the end of the year. And again, if it's less than $100 of this cash out value, it stays on your bill as rollover credit, which can be applied to future EBCE charges. If it's more than $100, then we send you a check in the mail for that amount, and it's taken off your bill.
Okay, I don't see any other questions for the team today. I will try and answer one that came in via chat. And I think this is a question of how we track credits in dollars versus the true up at the end of the year. And that is confusing. So yeah, credits are tracked. Credits over the course of the year are tracked in dollars at the retail rate. And that goes into that NEM balance. That maybe you can go to that part of the bill, Gabrielle. I love these bill examples. So this where right here, this person had some money in their NEM balance, and that was they had $968 on their bill, or excuse me, in their NEM balance, and now it's $0. So they used all of that NEM balance up. It looks like this customer also had some rollover credit balance from last year. So that means, so that rollover credit balance is they had less than $100 worth of credit from the previous year. That goes in the rollover credit balance, and then that can get used just like cash as well. The NEM balance, yes, it's tracked in dollars. At the end of the year, your payout, your cash out is actually calculated by looking at the total kilowatt hours and multiplying your net kilowatt hours times the net surplus generation. So it goes back into kilowatt hours. It was hanging out here in dollars, and then it goes back into kilowatt hours to do your true up. And that's just how PG&E handles this as well. So we're not, it is confusing. We're not trying to make it more confusing. That is how it's handled with PG&E, and we're trying to make sure that our customers fare as well as they do with PG&E at the end of the year. So hopefully that answers that question. I did get a request to stay on that slide for a minute, so we'll stick around on this slide while we go to the next question. Okay, Gabrielle, one more for you here. Chevelle asks, if my true up ends in May, now will it be changed to April?
Yes, so when you enroll with EBCE, you will go through another true up, and then your true up with PG&E on the T&D side will change to April. So your PG&E and EBCE true ups should then align.
Okay, I'm not seeing any new questions. Is anyone else, any of our other panelists getting any messages in via chat or in the Q&A section?
I'm not seeing anything, Kelly. I thought maybe I would just add that as I am a NEM customer myself and an EBCE customer, and I know I am with EBCE, so that might bring some bias, but my personal experience as a NEM customer who transitioned over to EBCE service is that the annual benefits are exactly the same, right? Because the value of everything is the same. The only difference for me as a NEM customer on EBCE service for me is that I am a net consumer over the course of the year. My system does not produce 100% of the electricity that I need on an annual basis. And I used to get a really large annual true up bill from PG&E that I just had to brace for, every March. And now what happens is each month, in the months when I am not generating enough power and I've burned through all of the credits that I accrued over the summer, in those months when I don't have enough in the bank to cover it, I get a charge for that difference from EBCE. So I have a small bill in those months, especially like the fall months, and winter months. But that is my annual true up bill is reduced by that amount when it comes to true up. So in exchange for paying those little deficit amounts each month, my true up is proportionately smaller at the true up. And I prefer that as a customer who is a net consumer. I like that cash flow better, but I realize it's really the same on an annualized basis. It's the same. So I think for customers thinking about this, that to me, that's the major change, is that at least as a NEM customer who is a annual net consumer, I sort of like the pain spread out over the course of the year rather than in one lump. But I know other customers are in different circumstances or may have different preferences, but really it's the same if you think about it on an annual basis. I hope that example helps people.
Dan, it looks like it did.
I see another question.
Daniel did respond and say that they are excited that they're not looking forward to paying that massive PG&E true up every month. So I'm really glad that we're able to help you out, Daniel. All right, and there were, I'll also just add a little bit here. In the Q&A section, we did have quite a few customers that appeared to maybe be customers that have had their NEM installed, their rooftop systems installed for quite some time. And so some of them are on the E6 rate, which is very beneficial for solar customers, as it provides peak generation rates middle of the day when solar tends to be a generator. I'll just remind folks, you've probably seen these messages from PG&E, but I know we all forget to open our mail or email sometimes. The E6 rate is going to be a little bit different this summer and will be getting phased out and closing in December 2022. So if you just do a Google search for PG&E E6 rate, you'll find a website that I'll put in the chat as well that describes how that rate is changing. I do encourage anyone that's on the E6 rate that's accustomed to their bill amount looking a certain way to definitely check this out. So I'll put this in the chat here for you. And that is a change on the PG&E side, just as a reminder that EBCE mirrors PG&E's rates. So while they're changing their time periods and their rates, we'll be following that as well. That might be it. Gabrielle, do you want to put up our, thank you. So there's our contact information if you do have any questions that we didn't address during this presentation. You're welcome to give us a call. Our CSR team, our customer service representative team, is very knowledgeable. They can help you out with any of your questions. There was a question for an E1 bill example, so please do give them a call or an email, and we'll work with them to get you a bill example. And then also check out our website and follow us on social media at Powered by EBCE.
Yes, thank you all so much for coming. I hope this was helpful.